Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do this. This is absolutely beautiful. It's called a double bean stitch. Now it's like the bean stitch, but I've got it so that it comes out mostly on the one side of your project. Now I'm going to show you how to do this. You need an even number of stitches. Make your chain as wide as you want. Now you will notice that my corners are just slightly curling. This will straighten up as you work, but once you finish your blanket, you'll just finish it on a UK double crochet row. You'll cut your yarn, pull it through your loop and stitch your end in to hide the end. Now if yours is still curling like this, what I suggest is you spray it with some warm water, put a dry towel down, then put your work on top of the dry towel, flatten down your corners and then put another dry towel on the top, and that'll hold that corner down and leave it to dry. Just leave it to dry on your... I only seem to be getting these two corners curling. It might be because it's where I'm working on it. That side doesn't seem to be too bad at all. It just seems to be this bottom corner and this top corner. But I do think it's because it's little double crochets, or that's single crochets if you're in the USA. But spray it with water. Pin it down, either lay it flat or pin it down onto a dry towel, and then put another maybe dry bath sheet, fold it up and put it over the top of it, and make sure your corners are flat down, and that'll leave it to dry and that'll flatten your corners. It won't flatten your stitches, but it'll flatten those corners down for you. And that is all that. It's just because it is just a small stitch and it will straighten out. So I'm going to show you how to do this. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quick and it's easy. It's quick and it's easy. Now what we're going to do is you're going to do a slip knot. Just wrap the yarn around your fingers. Put your hook in and catch that tail end and pull it through. Now if you can't do a slip knot, if you're a beginner, just put it on your hook and tie one single knot on it, just one single knot, and then we'll start our chain. We're going to do your chain in an even number. Once we've done the foundation chain, we'll end up with an odd number, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. So you're going to do an even number of chains in your foundation. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got a little sample done here. I'm just going to show you how to do it in a little sample. Now what I did, so I've got an even number of stitches. I'm going to do a UK double crochet into the second stitch in the chain. If you're in the USA, that's a single crochet for you. So 1, 2. Now we've got an even number in our chain. When you go into that second stitch, you'll lose that one. So you should have an odd number of stitches once you've done this first row on your foundation. So go into that second stitch and push through. Pull your yarn through, yarn over and pull through. Now you're going to do a UK double crochet into every stitch, and then count them and make sure you now have an odd number. You should start your chain with an even number, and when you do your foundation you should have an odd number of stitches. So 1 into every stitch. So I've done my foundation chain. Now remember what I said, that you need to start with an even number of stitches, and when you go into that second stitch in your foundation chain you'll lose a stitch, so you should have an odd number left. So you should have an odd number. I started with 34 and I've now got 33. So what you're going to do now is, I'm going to do 3 double crochets at the beginning and 3 double crochets at the end, just to keep the little pattern running straight, just to keep a nice edge up the side so you don't need a border. We're doing 3 at this end and we're doing 3 at that end, and the pattern will be in the middle. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work around. Now into that very first stitch here, that very first one, do a UK double crochet, and if you're in the USA, this is a single crochet for you. That's 1, 2, and 1 into your next one is your 3. So we've done 3 double crochets. Now we're going to go into the next stitch. Don't do a yarn over, just push your hook straight through, pull your yarn through and pull it up. Put your yarn over and go into that same stitch again. So in you go and pull through. So that's you pulled up through 1 set of loops. Yarn over again and into the same stitch and pull through. You're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Then you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 loops plus your working yarn. Pull through them all and chain 1. Skip 1 stitch and do that little bean cluster again. So skip a stitch, go straight through the next one and pull through. Now yarn over and through the same stitch, pull through. That's you done 1 set of loops. Yarn over, pull through and pull back, and that's you got your second full set of loops. And again you should have 6 loops. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Yarn over and pull through them all and chain 1. Now you'll do that all the way to the end until you've got your last 3 stitches left. So you're going to, we've done a chain 1, skip a stitch. Now do this double bean stitch straight through the space. So straight through the stitch and pull through. Now yarn over and through and pull your double loop through. So your first one just gives you 1 loop and your second one will give you 2 loops. So yarn over and go through that same stitch and you've got another 2 loops. So you should have 6 loops altogether. So yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Yarn over, chain 1. Now you'll do that all the way to the end. So skip a stitch and do a bean stitch. So pull a loop through, yarn over, pull another one through, that's twice, yarn over and pull another one through, that's the 3rd time. Yarn over, pull through them all and chain 1 all the way to the end. Now I'm getting near to the end, so I'm going to skip my stitch and I'm going to do I've got 3 stitches here, so I'm going to skip a stitch and do a bean stitch. When you've done it, do not do a chain. So just go through, pull through, yarn over, pull through your first set of loops, yarn over and pull through that second double set. Yarn over and pull through, but don't chain 1. On your very last bean stitch, don't chain 1. You're going into these 3 stitches, you're going to go down here and do a double crochet, 1 into the next stitch, a double crochet and a double crochet into the end. Now every time you're doing a bean stitch row, your last bean will not have a chain 1. You'll pull through the loops and then go down and do your first of the 3 double crochets at the end. So you'll do your bean stitch, pull through the loops and then do a double crochet and a double crochet. Don't pull through. If you do, you'll have an extra stitch. So chain 1 and turn. With all your beans facing you, you're going to do 1 row of double crochets. 1 row, and if you're in the USA, that's a single crochet row. So go into that very first stitch, do your double crochet, into the next stitch, then into the next stitch. Your next stitch is that space. You can see your stitches on the top there. Into that space. Then your next one is here, in this little triangle. Not in that space, in that triangle there. Then your next one is where your cluster is being pulled together. You see your stitches, just tilt your work and you'll see that little stitch there in the top of your cluster. Do your double crochet. The next one goes into the space, not that space there, into this one that looks like a diamond, a little triangle. In there, there's your stitch there. One into the next stitch, there's your stitch there. All the way along. Now into the next stitch. Just tilt it, or you can see, look for that triangle, not that space, this triangle. And one into the top of your cluster. You can see your stitches running along the top of your work. Now when you're at the end, your last 3 stitches, you'll just put a double crochet in. Now you're going to chain 1 and turn. Now every time the flat side of the blanket is facing you, that's when you'll do your clusters, because your cluster shows up on this side. That is so pretty. Look at that. That is so pretty. So right into the very first stitch, we're going to do 3 double crochets along. So 1 into that stitch, the very first stitch, 1 into the next one, and 1 into the next one. Now you're going to start your bean stitches again. So go straight through the stitch and pull up 1 loop. Yarn over and through again. You've got an extra 2 loops this time. So yarn over and through again. So you should have 6 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one there's 6. So yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Oops. Now if you have trouble like that, do it again. So straight through and pull, yarn over and through, pull through, yarn over and pull through again. Now yarn over, you can just come through a few loops at a time. So come through a few loops and then through the rest of them. We're going to chain 1. When you do the first one, you'll chain 1, but when you do your last coffee bean along here, you won't do that chain 1. Keeps your stitch count. So you're going to skip that stitch and do your double bean stitch in the next one. So we've done a chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to work in the next one. Pull through 1 loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through them all, chain 1, skip 1, and do your bean stitch. Now this is the 2 rows that you'll keep repeating. Your bean stitch row and then your double crochet row. So remember, chain 1 and then skip 1 into the next stitch and pull through. You pull through 1 loop the first time. So yarn over and through again. The second time you're pulling through 2 loops. So yarn over, and the third time you've pulled through another 2 loops. So you should have 6 on your hook. Pull through, chain 1, skip 1, work your bean stitch, 3 times in, chain 1, skip 1, and do your bean stitch. You'll do that all the way along, and when you've done your last bean stitch, do not chain 1. So I'm going to skip 1 and do my last bean stitch, because that's the 3 stitches for the side of my blanket. So skip 1 and I'm going to do my bean stitch. 1, through twice and through 3. Yarn over. Now pull through the loops. Do not chain 1. Don't chain 1. Go straight down there and do a double crochet. Then a double crochet into the next one, and double crochet into the next one. And that keeps your stitch count. If you do a chain 1, you'll end up with 1 stitch too many, and you don't have enough stitches to skip 1, and we want to keep a little border. So chain 1 and turn, and there you go, you've got 1 row of beans on top of the other. So you're going to do a double crochet into each stitch. Now you can turn your work and you can see all your stitches. So double crochet right into the very first one, and if you're in the USA, these are single crochets for you. And then in to that next stitch, you can see the stitches all along the top. There's your next one. And it's the easiest way to find your stitches on the top. Now it's quite sunny. There we go. It's quite sunny here. Still cold though. So 1 double crochet into each stitch. So when you're at the end, you'll just do a double crochet into each of those 3 stitches. And that gives you a nice border. Chain 1 and turn your work around. So you'll do 1 right into that very first stitch, 1 into the second stitch, and a double crochet into the third stitch. And then you'll start your bean stitches. You're going to start doing your bean stitch. So into that next stitch, pull through, that's twice, 3 times, pull through, chain 1, skip 1, and do your bean stitch. Got my yarn running away from me there. That's twice and 3, pull through, chain 1, skip 1, and do your bean stitch all the way along. And this is what you get. It's really pretty, it really is. Just remember that when you get to your last 4 stitches, you'll do your bean stitch, pull through your loops, but don't do the chain 1. Then you'll do your 3 double crochets, chain 1 and turn, and do a row of your double crochets. So it's 1 row of bean stitch, 1 row of double crochets, 1 row of bean stitch, 1 row of double crochets. And you'll do your bean stitch when the flat back of your blanket is facing you, and your beans will show up on this side. I'll show you my other one again. It is so pretty. Look at that. So give this a try. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, click on the subscribe button and just follow the few simple directions. And if you click on the bell icon, then YouTube will tell you when I put another tutorial up. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.